Yes, thanks so much, Kevin. That's a
Great.
pleasure here to be with you all. And the first thing what I need to announce is that I've made a mistake in my title. It is not longer called Azure Sentinel. It's now called Microsoft Sentinel. They have renamed it. So that's something what you need to consider. But yeah, it will take some time to get used to it. And my session is fully focused on Microsoft Teams. I'm not going to talk about anything else, just Teams, otherwise I could talk for ages around Sentinel because there's so many data sources and possibilities. It's a massive, super exciting product, but here to make the maximum use of time, I'm only focusing on Teams protection with Microsoft Sentinel against threats. That's obviously the thing we are here in the cyber resilience, cybersecurity context. One little slide about myself that you know who I am. I'm living here in the middle of Germany, north of Frankfurt, next to this beautiful castle with my family, which is on the top bottom, 3 kids, 1 wife. And then I'm also blogging around Microsoft 365 topics. I'm blogging a few times a week, ragnarheil.de. The headsets blog are usually on the ragnar.blog side. I'm really a Microsoft Teams device geek. And I'm also fascinated around hybrid work, where I was traveling with Microsoft Germany last September in a van together with wonderful colleagues. And I'm also podcasting a lot and also have an Alex and Ragnar show. And with Alex Eggers and Andreas Schlüter, I was traveling with a hybrid work tour. And we have this bi-weekly video live stream around Microsoft Teams and Microsoft 365 news every second week on a Thursday evening for the Europeans. And yeah, so that's everything around me. When I'm not working as an MVP, I work at Quest Software as a partner channel manager for our partners in EMEA Central. And this session is going to show you actually what is Microsoft Sentinel in one word, why do we need it, and what's different to classical SIEM. Then I'm going to walk you through the configuration steps, adding Teams as a source, and then going into the log files. Log files are the most important ways to get more insights about incidents and security threats. And then we're looking into the log files here, looking also how we can go deeper into incidents and go into a more proactive role by going into the hunting. So it's all about setting queries, setting hunting rules, automation rules. So it's not only like we know from the security center where we have the unified admin logs. So here we are going to create rules and to see how this works. And I'm going to show you very new and preview playbooks around how you can also use Sentinel to push alerts and to push incidents into a Teams channel and start collaboration about incidents and about alerts. Okay, so let's get started with a short introduction. What is actually Sentinel? Well, if you are a security specialist and working in a SOC, this is maybe your future go-to tool to work with. And it's completely Azure cloud-based. So not something you need to install, fully running on Azure, and it's framed in the context of security information and event management called SIEM. Yes, it's collecting logs, but on the other hand, it's also very useful and very powerful on sending up queries to the log files. And that's something what I really enjoy, because in the past, especially when I worked as a consultant in SharePoint on premises, after a long day of working in log files, my eyes were really hurting because I saw so many logs, and here the queries really help to get the filter and to sharpen my eyes and to find the needle in the haystack. So I'm a really big fan of query logs. That saves time, and it's also good for your eyes. Detection of correlation, detection of patterns and anomalies is key here. So that's what they want to achieve. Learning. So it's not only about cloud, it's about machine learning, AI, and learning patterns and then improving them, and based on the things what you've learned, improving your rules, improving your automation mechanisms, and then tweaking and tuning your alerts and your incidents. So it's, let's call it a little bit a kind of life cycle, where I first start on collecting and detecting, and then also investigating, doing researches, talk to your teams, talk to specialists, talk to your customers, and then respond with automation and actually hardening it. It's all about hardening, and it's all about the beautiful word of cyber resilience to make it stronger, harder, and to really make the whole hybrid workplace more robust against threats from inside, like insider risk, but also outside from young teenagers or from countries. The world is not the same like we had 3-4 weeks ago. It's a dangerous world, and here it can also play a significant role and a part of it. But I don't want to go into this deeper. It's too sad. Okay, so that's the life cycle story: collect, detect, investigate, and respond. So you may be asking, okay, well, if it's a SIEM, what is actually different than a classic SIEM, what we've known since a few years? Well, first of all, the whole Microsoft Sentinel services are completely built in the cloud. They're running in the cloud, the applications are running in the cloud, and they're built on the cloud. So it's not only the application who is running on Azure, the whole services and connectors and also workloads are running on cloud, but they're also working fine with connectors who are running maybe on premises. So it's really a hybrid SIEM. The application is running on Azure, but the content sources can also be on premises. The benefit of having a cloud, extremely scalable. So it really grows with your business and maybe also faster than your business. Low administration overhead means maybe you can save resources because it's so easy to use. And I've done a few installations here. The basic installation is done within a few minutes. So we literally to set Sentinel up, assign it to a data center, I don't know, Asia, Europe, US, wherever you are, Africa. It just takes a few minutes to do the basic installation. That is a completely game changer compared to the on-premise world, where it would take weeks to set it up. Pay as you go, you only pay to Microsoft what you are consuming. So that's also a different to other price plans where you have like flat rates. Here you just pay what you consume, and the free trials are also there, so you don't have to buy the cat in the bag. There are definitely chances to get a €200 trial before you go into it. Marketplace, number 7. I'm super impressed about the marketplace. There are hundreds of connectors, free and commercial ones to every kind of system. So it's not only that you can monitor the Microsoft ecosystem like Exchange, OneDrive, and Teams, and so on in Azure and on premises. You can also monitor a lot of third-party tools from known vendors, the typical SAPs, Oracles, ServiceNows, Salesforce, up to smaller ones. But this is definitely not only to protecting Microsoft workloads. It's all about protecting the hybrid leading data systems on this planet. So that's a very, very strong point compared to SIEM. And if you are fearing of running out of your costs, there's also a cost monitoring tool that you can also see how much you are spending on this service every single month. These are the main differences what I would see. But sorry, I forgot one very important thing. That's something what I have prepared and I just forgot it. That's embarrassing. I would like to know more about you. So please be so kind and go to Menti and enter. Let me see if I can do it in the. I would like to know more about you and go to Menti, please, and enter 92939446. So that would be great to know a little bit more about your role and what you're doing, because then I can also go deeper here or deeper here, depending where you are. Menti.com 92939446. Because I have prepared a more technical presentation. So let's see that technical people are here. I'm also having a little bit of source code for the developers, but it's going to be a little bit of an introduction, but I will go deeper and share everything what I know. Okay, that sounds like expected. That's very nice. I will come back in 1 second. The second question would be, I would love to know where do you actually live. So please share your country where you're living. Currently, I can see that we have around 50, more than 60 people here. I would like to see where you're from. And I have to admit that I actually would like to see all in person, but this needs to wait, unfortunately. Beautiful. Angola, Lithuania, Netherlands, Scotland, Germany, Finland, Denmark, Helsinki, South Brussels, Britain, Ireland, Switzerland. Beautiful, yeah. Thank you so much. And my last question before I continue is, which Microsoft Teams security incidents and alerts you would like to monitor? Because there are many things you can monitor. And the thing is, which kind of alerts, incidents, security risk are the most important for you? Think of governance, think of compliance, think of security, which is for you most important. Yeah, guest communication. That's really a #1 topic. Risk silence, data exfiltration, breach guest accounts, team deletion, yes, guest communications, guest compliance, guest access, team deletion, data breach. That sounds good because I have prepared this playbook here for this. Impossible login, SharePoint. Yeah, SharePoint is always a big risk for teams. Malware attacks, mass encryption, extreme file sharing. Yeah, that's a good one. Sensitive data, login failures, stale accounts, phishing links, good one. Breach guest accounts, super. Oh, that's straight to the point. Super. Thank you so much. That helps me to find the right scope here. I think I already did. So okay, let's see. First, I would like to show you a brand new product called Microsoft Sentinel for Teams. It's a Teams integration. It's in the preview phase, which means that things can maybe change. Microsoft is always happy to get feedback, but it's currently in preview. The use cases for this Sentinel integration, especially for Teams, is you can find out of the box without any kind of special coding, special customizations. Out of the box, you can find out which external users from a new organization are added to Teams. So not external users from an existing, external users from a new organization are added to Teams. You will get more insights here. Then bots added to multiple teams. So always try to read the phrase exactly. It's not only a query, a single bot is added to a single team. No, bots are added to multiple teams at the same time. This is the incident. Multiple teams at the same time. Bots, like #1, external user from a new organization. So I'm going to emphasize what I'm saying here. Third, user made owner of multiple teams. So that's also a anomaly, a risk, something which is unexpected. And here you can also see a difference to classic tools of governance. I've talked to, I think, to all governance tool vendors here, and usually the use cases are, okay, please show me when a bot is added to a team. Please show me when the user has changed. But here it's about user made owner of multiple teams. So it's more extreme. #4, previously unseen bot or application added to teams. So it's an add-on, a bot which was not recognized. Nobody acted. There was no reaction, no action taken. Previously unseen. #5, files uploaded to Teams and access summary. #6, user added to Teams and immediately uploads file. We can also change this query to user added to team and immediately downloads files. That's also possible. So here you can see it's not the standard basic governance use cases. It's more advanced with a focus on security threats. And here one thing how you can do it and how you can start logging Teams activities is just go into Sentinel And here there's one part in Sentinel called logs. And my recommendation would be just click there and search for Office activity. And then on the right, you can filter on the Office workload and just filter on Teams. Currently, I haven't done the filter because I also wanted to see everything around SharePoint. But here, yeah, Office workloads, SharePoint, and Teams are there. So that's one of my main recommendations here. Go to the log part of Azure Sentinel and just click here on Office activities. You can also go here into login activities or sign in logs. But here there is a massive amount of log management tools. And if you look on the left part here of my screen, then you can easily see that that here you can choose between log management functions like Azure Activity, usage, query logs, or typical things from Sentinel, or you can also use custom logs for sign-in logs, signing failures, and there are many, many more. And when we have more time, then I can also go and show you in more than other, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 custom logs. But this is something which is very strong. And the good thing is you don't need to know the query because you just literally click on the left navigation, click on login activity, and then throw it and paste it here on the right-hand side and click on run. And you don't need to know how the query looks like. You just do a drag and drop, and then the query runs. You can also filter it, you can format it, you can add more columns. So many things you can do. You can share it, you can save it, you can export it, you can create a rule. So it's a very, very rich way of log file management because you can definitely make rules out of it, get proactive alerts by email in a Teams channel, in a Teams chat, or just share it with your colleagues, or just modify the amount of columns you would like to see to get more important information, and also use the more important information in your columns to do proper filtering, because that's important. It's not only about getting more and more data. It's important to use the right filters to find the right incident. So that's a very good start here using log file management. Then, as I already mentioned, there is not only the table view, which I've just shown you, there's also the query view. And here there are hundreds, maybe thousands of different queries, and I was just entering teams into my queries. So again, I'm in the log part of Microsoft Sentinel, but I'm just entering teams. I could also enter Exchange or SharePoint or OneDrive. Here I'm entering teams, and I get the predefined queries, bots added to multiple teams, external users from new organizations added to teams, file uploaded teams, and access summary. So the same things which I just told you on 2 slides before, these categories can be added here immediately. And that's something which you can run directly by just literally clicking on the run button. And then you can also set the time range. So there is here the time range part. And that's a way where I say, listen, I want to see the last 24 hours or the last 24 days or the last 365 days. So here you set the queries. You can also save the query and make an alert to say, listen, that's such an important query for me. I would like to make an alert and get an email every single time when this query triggers and fires and kicks in. So that's one of the biggest benefits, to have multiple ways to work with these queries. So it's so simple. Just click on Teams here, and then you will find the relevant out-of-the-box things. And if you say, listen, there are some things which I would like to change, then you can go into the code, into the query code, and change it. But for me, in my cases here, it's just enough to use the pre-built ones. Let's switch gears and go into hunting. Hunting is a little bit of log file analytics, but it's different because here you're working with queries, and you have a list, an overview about different queries you would like to use, and here you can also see how the queries are performing. So it's on the one hand, it's a list of your most relevant queries. Currently, as you can see on my red arrow, I filtered it on Teams, but you can also go and say, listen, I would like to also see the results and the delta, and I would also like to see the tactics. If it's what's the impact like? Is this a privilege escalation, a persistent thing? So there are many different ways of having tactics, and this is a very rich way of getting an overview about all your queries and getting more context where say, listen, now I would like to filter and I would like to see how the queries are performing around initial access, for example. So different ways of prioritizing your most important queries around Teams. And this also, in case you would like to add something, and this out-of-the-box queries is not enough. So currently, I think there are around Teams, I didn't count them. I've got 161 active queries and 219 total queries. If these 219 queries are not enough for you and you need to create your own queries, just go and make a custom hunting query. So just go hunting and make a custom one. In my case, I called it Teams Nation Hunting, and it's called user added to Teams, and the user immediately downloads files. That's what we always don't like. Some external joins the team, and the external goes directly and downloads gigabyte of files. That's what we definitely don't want to see. And that's something what you can track here by entering a custom query, or you just go back and use an existing query and you just modify it. So for example, the existing query was called the user immediately uploads files, and here you just change the time and then you modify it from upload files to download files. So you change the query, then you also need to add and map the entity type. Like for example, file would be a good entity type, because here it's all about the file object. And then the last step would be to add a tactic and a technique. And this could be maybe collection or exfiltration. So different stages here, different ways of tactics and techniques. That's how the custom hunting looks like in Sentinel for Microsoft Teams. Are there any questions so far about this kind of hunting? Otherwise, I will go to the playbooks. And as a German, I always think, what do the Americans think? What are playbooks? You know, I know what play is. I know what books is. What is playbooks? Okay, I know what you think what a playbook is, but Microsoft Sentinel, they call them playbooks. And I've got here two different playbooks which I would like to show to you. And these playbooks have also different rules, and that's something which is interesting, because with the rules you have on the one hand the automation rules and then the analytics rules. And the automation rules, they can be managed under the automation part and not under the playbook part. So yes, the automation rules are part of playbook, but they cannot be found anymore under playbook. They are not found under the automation rules part. So just take care that they just changed the place. And the thing is, you can have one automation rule and apply one automation rule to many different analytics rules, and that makes it very flexible. So it's not like a one-to-one pair, like one automation rule to one analytics rules. You can have one automation, multiple analytics rules. That makes it flexible. You can also audit them, because everything can be audited. So you can also audit a rule. That's something what I've shown here by this query. So also the rules can be audited, and not only the incidents and the workloads. So it's very rich. Analytic rules, they are scheduled queries based on an incident, and there is an analytic rule wizard. So I always go to the wizard and shape my rule here and and go step by step through it, but just take care and make sure that you also use the scheduling functions, that you get that these rules are kicking in every day or every minute or every 10 minutes, however you would like to see it. So let's go here and look a little bit into the configuration of these playbooks. Here you can see I've just added this playbook in my Sentinel environment. The prerequisites are I have in Sentinel a workspace with read and write permissions, and currently the global admin or the security admin has got the permissions to run it. And then I just click and make sure that Teams is part of my configuration. I always want to monitor Exchange and SharePoint in Teams, but here Teams would be monitored. That's currently very important. Then the next configuration step for this preview product, Teams for Sentinel, is that I can go here and define my username, which is my admin user, because in this playbook, I'm going to create a message in a Microsoft Teams channel about an incident. That is the main use case of this playbook. The playbook were firstly published on GitHub, and now they are also published and available in the Sentinel, and you can use it and deploy them directly as an Azure Logic app inside of your Azure environment. So it's an Azure Logic app running in Azure, and it's bridged to your Microsoft Sentinel environment. But technically, it's a Logic app. In the past, it was available on GitHub, so you can get the source code. But if you don't want to go into GitHub, it's now under the surface of Sentinel. And the deployment is very easy. So I think it took like 5 minutes, and then it was deployed in my tenant. So the deployment steps are really simple. I just added the right user, the right permissions, admin rights. I added Exchange, SharePoint, and Teams, and then I entered my admin username, because this username should be able to access the API for the log analytics, and this user should also post messages to Teams, because my Teams channel should get messages around any kind of incidents which are defined in these queries. And that's it. And then there's a validation step. As you can see on the screen arrow, there's a validation going on, and this has now passed. And here there's also a visualization how the Logic app looks like. So there's a beautiful thing called Resource Visualizer, and then you can see that's my data center. My data center is in the east of the US. There's my workspace, and here I've got my APIs and so on to post messages to Teams. I've got a Logic app. Currently, I've got 2 Logic apps. The other one I'm going to show you, but currently this is my Logic app. Post messages to Teams, and messages would be Azure Sentinel incidents to Teams. So it needs to post it directly through the API to Teams. And the Logic app would look the following. Here it's going to the first step, I'm doing a connection to my tenant. In the second step, I'm going to define the incident, like the subscription ID, the resource group, the workspace, the system alert, and this information are going to send into my Teams channel using an adaptive card. And it's going to inform my Teams channel about the severity of the incident, the title, status, number, created, alert, display name, and so on and so on. And finally, it's going to look like this. That's currently not the beautiful one. So here, the Teams group needs to spend a little bit more time to make it a nice adaptive card. So I'm fully aware that this is not the most beautiful way to publish automatically messages, but it shouldn't be rocket science to make a nice adaptive card out of this Logic app. And then you would have collaboration around incidents, because as I've shown you in the last 25 minutes, the Azure Sentinel information, like log files, would only be visible for you as an admin. You would log into portal.azure.com and you would see it. But the other people in your team, maybe they wouldn't have access. And that's a way of having collaboration in your team around incidents of your hybrid workplace. So I think that's a very strong story about collaboration with security. With security incidents. Next use case, it's the same approach, Azure Sentinel. It's also a playbook, but here we're doing something else. It's also free. It's available. The source code you will find also on github.com/Azure Sentinel. The deployment also takes only like 5 minutes. And here the it's going to check if the incident has got a suspicious Azure AD identity. So the incident only kicks in when the identity of the account is suspicious. And if yes, it's going to, and then, when a new incident is created, it iterates over all accounts in the Azure AD, and then an adaptive card is going to be created with a risk in it. The risky user is there, so the risky user API is used, and then you will get an adaptive card about all the issues about the suspicious user would be shown in the adaptive cards. It's free, but you would need a Azure P2 license. So that's the only disadvantage. The application on Logic App is free, it's available, source code is open, but it would need an Azure P2 plan because the risky user API requires a P2 plan. Yeah, and the user needs permissions on identity protection API. That is one thing which is very interesting because we don't want log files where we get every kind of user login activities. We only want to be informed about suspicious anomalies, things which are not expected, strange, awkward, whatever you call it. That's the thing. And if it's suspicious, then it's going to be shared and displayed in the Teams channel conversation. Yeah, that's the list of my resources. A little bit of Quick Start. And Quick Start would be the official documentation, which is very good. And every time when I checked it, I see that it's always changed. So the latest changes were from yesterday. So it's changed really every single week. There's a learning module, which is very good to learn, depending on your time, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 or 3, 5 hours. And then the playbooks are also for free on GitHub, but now also embedded into the Sentinel experience. I've got more here, how to run them, and then also make sure to check the Sentinel blogs. And now I've got more time for you for a question. And also there would be also more time to look into the beating live system. But here I would like to know which questions do you have? I can show you how to go into the configuration. I can also show you how to go into the Content Hub, which is currently in preview, and add Teams here. But this is something which is easy. You just enter Teams, and then you just click here on Teams in the Sentinel Content Hub. Just enter Teams, and then on the right you find the installation button. Then you just go here and create, and then you would have the Teams preview here, and then you just walk through the steps which I've just shown you. Enter the name of your Azure subscription, enter the name of your resource group, enter the name of your workspace, and then you're ready for these use cases which you've just mentioned. Users are added or removed in a short time frame. Multiple users deleted by one single user. External users from new organizations added to teams, multiple teams deleted by one single user. That's also a horrible thing. One user is deleting multiple teams, bots added to multiple teams, and so on. So all these suspicious things are part here. And now I have to add my admin name, and then it's ready to deploy it. Currently it's failing because it's already existing. And my daily work would be really spending time here in everything around analytics. If you are on the system integrator side and you would like to do fancy customer demos, there's also a package available from Microsoft where you can load and provisioning data into it. So that's very useful because it's always nice to give cyber threading demos, but you don't know how to simulate an attack. Here Microsoft is providing data which you can import into your Sentinel environment, and then you have high, medium, and low threats. So currently my highest threat here is around advanced multi-stage attack detection. And here you can see the impact, and you can also filter down. Well, currently you cannot filter down, but if it would be, then you could go here and filter on the tactics and techniques. And as mentioned before, it's always a good thing to search for teams. And I can see that I had one issue around multiple teams deleted by one user. So that's something what is one of my favorite queries. And I can also go here and just run this query, and then I can see how this works. All the queries can be changed and can be modified. And there is a logic here which I can map and enter the time, how often this query should run. So many ways. That's the analytics parts. I can also say, listen, I know that I want to search for external users. There was one question here around external users. And here I can also see whenever it's going to fire that the external, that's the external firewall. That's a different story. So the external user added in a short time frame. Queries can be saved here and then fired. Data connectors, I would also recommend to always go to the Office 65 connector, so not only the Teams one, and just click here on the Office 65 connector and activate this one. That's also very important for all cases. And then you can go deeper here into the connector, where I've also showed you that I have enabled Exchange, SharePoint, and OneDrive. Refresh tenants. And here I've got my relevant templates. These are out-of-the-box templates, and they're also increasing the security store. And you can also go and modify and add your own special templates in this template part. And here you can see progress over the last time. So currently it's March 23rd, and I can also see what's happening in Teams. I've got 38 data points only today in Teams. Based on the templates here, you can make rules. So that's always important when I talked about life cycle. It's not only about seeing log files, it's also about making templates, which are more than log files, and then creating rules out of these log files. And then you would use the full power of this lifecycle workflow mechanism. And finally, you can go here and go into this. Let me just go back. Go into this analytics template part. For example, I just query in my here, and that was my query. Members removed. Okay, currently there's no member removed, but that's how it would look like. So you just paste the queries here. If you don't have something, then you just go back to your custom logs, look into your Sentinel parts, look into log management. If you don't know where to look, then just maybe type something. Oh, it was under Office activity. And then you can also here filter depending on your workload. But I think these are the most important news regarding Sentinel. So it's all about these new playbooks, which helps you to bring these incidents into teams. So it's not only about finding incidents in teams, it's also about communicating about incidents in teams. And these are the announcements from this work, from these playbooks. I would really appreciate if you could give me your rating here. So Teams Nation rocks /feedback. Please scan it. Thanks so much. And I'm always happy to answer your question. Just forgot to enter my email here. This would be email, and you can also find me on most of the social networks. I'm usually at every social network except Tinder for a reason which I've just shared with you in my introduction slide.